Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling something huge, a challenge facing countries all over the world. Just the sheer weight of national debt.
Mm,
Imagine a government, trying to invest in its future, maybe bouncing back from a huge shock like the pandemic,
right.
but a massive slice of its income is just gone,
Mhm.
immediately swallowed up by debt repayments.
Yeah, vanishes before it can be used.
And that's money needed for critical stuff, like climate action or, the basic sustainable development goals.
Yeah.
It's just not there.
It creates what finance folks call fiscal stress, but it's not abstract at all, is it?
No, not for the people affected.
It means really tough choices. Like, do we fund that hospital wing, invest in green energy, or make the debt payment?
And the debt often wins out, I imagine.
Too often, yeah. So
Mhm.
public services, long-term projects, they get sidelined. And for regions like the Arab states, this lack of financial breathing room, well, it really puts their whole post-pandemic recovery in jeopardy.
It's a tight spot.
Hmm.
And it's not just the countries in debt, right? Even donor countries.
Yeah.
They want to help. They make pledges for aid or climate finance.
But they're facing their own economic headwinds, too, especially after everything that's happened globally.
So just ramping up that support,
Yeah.
it's actually really hard for them.
It is. So you've got this global bottleneck, really.
Okay, so it sounds pretty grim, but what if? What if there was a mechanism, something clever, that could actually flip this, turn
Hmm.
that burden into, well, an opportunity?
That's exactly the idea behind debt swaps.
Bat swaps, okay.
And specifically, we're looking at a really innovative approach from ESCWA, that's the UN's Economic and Social Commission for Western Asia.
Right, ECWA.
So this deep dive, we're going to explore their specific mechanism. It's designed to pivot from just managing debt to actually using it strategically for, environmental and social good.
Okay, let's unpack this. So our mission today,
Yeah.
get under the hood of this ESCWA Climate SDGs debt swap mechanism. They also call it the Debt Swap Donor Nexus Initiative.
That's the one.
And it's pitched as a win-win.
Yeah.
So we need to figure out how it actually speeds up work on the SDGs and climate action by linking debt relief directly to these vital projects.
Right. So let's dig a bit deeper into that problem first. This high, often rising national debt, it creates this constant budget strain.
Constant pressure.
Yeah. It forces countries to spend a huge chunk of their revenue just servicing the debt, paying interest, paying principal.
And that directly pulls money away from things like sustainable development or climate resilience projects, things they desperately need.
Exactly. Think of it like, I don't know, a household budget where maybe a third of your income just goes straight out the door for the mortgage.
Leaves you very little wiggle room for anything else,
Okay.
essentials, let alone saving or investing.
Precisely. And for nations, that's the kind of strain we're seeing. It makes it incredibly hard to fund public services or plan for future growth.
And you mentioned the Arab region specifically. The consequences there are quite stark.
They really are. With such limited ability to spend, they might just not be able to build back effectively from the pandemic's economic hit. They're sort of caught.
In a financial vice, yeah.
And then you add the other side of the equation. Donor countries, they want to help. They really do.
Sure.
But they're also dealing with their own budget pressures. So scaling up development aid or those big climate finance promises, it gets tough when your own economy is tight.
Right. Everyone's feeling the pinch in different ways. It shows how interconnected it all is.
It really does.
Okay, so if debtor nations are stuck and donors have limits, how do these debt swaps actually break that cycle? What's the trick?
Well, that's where the clever part comes in. These climate SDGs debt swaps, they're framed as a strategic tool, a way for creditors and donors to help developing countries.
Okay, strategic how?
Their main goal is to help nations, yes, recover better from shocks like the pandemic, but also to really strengthen development cooperation, making it more effective.
I see.
And, it's important to understand the basic idea of a debt swap isn't completely out of the blue. It has some history.
Okay. So it's not a totally new invention.
Not entirely, no. We've seen variations before, like during the big financing for development in the era of COVID-19 initiative. Debt swaps were definitely on the menu for leaders to consider.
Right.
And even going back further, the 2015 Addis Ababa Action Agenda, that actually encouraged heavily indebted developing countries to look at debt for nature swaps.
Debt for nature, so swapping debt relief for environmental protection.
Exactly. So the core concept linking debt relief to some positive outcome, environmental or developmental, it's been around, but it's being refined now, made much more targeted.
Okay, so building on that history, ESCWA launched its own focused version, the Climate SDGs Debt Swap Mechanism, or the Debt Swap Donor Nexus Initiative.
Correct. And it was designed very specifically to help their member states who are juggling those three big problems. Not enough climate finance, crushing debt, and those pandemic-fueled budget pressures.
So what makes the ESCWA approach special? How do they actually help?
Well, what's really insightful, I think, is that they don't just talk about the idea. They actively help governments design these specific debt swap programs for climate, for the SDGs.
Ah, so they provide that how-to.
Exactly. They bring a structured method. For example, they'll work with a country to pinpoint specific measurable climate or SDG projects.
Things you can actually track.
Yes, things that can be directly tied to the debt relief being offered. This means doing detailed cost-benefit work, clear projections of the impact, making sure the swap genuinely leads to real change on the ground.
Not just good intentions.
Right. It has to be verifiable change, not just theoretical goodwill.
That seems crucial. It's not just a friendly agreement, there's a solid...
So they measure success at the project level, like did that solar plant get built?
Yeah.
But also at the broader program level. And critically, they look at the transformational impact on climate and the SDGs overall. Transformational impact. So bigger picture changes. Exactly. It keeps everyone accountable and lets everyone see the real results. So when we talk about win-win, it's because it genuinely boosts cooperation between the debtor country, the creditor, and any donors involved. They're all working together towards clear, measurable goals on climate and development.
Could you give like a simple example of how that might look?
Sure. Let's say a country owes, I don't know, $100 million. Instead of demanding all that cash back, the creditor might say, okay, we'll forgive $20 million of that debt.
Right.
If you invest that $20 million verifiably into building, say, a national solar power grid.
Okay, I see.
So that project tackles climate change, obviously, but it might also generate revenue for the debtor country or cut its energy import bills, easing its financial burden down the road, too. That's the kind of concrete win-win outcome they're aiming for.
That makes a lot of sense. It links debt relief directly to a productive investment. And ESCWA isn't doing this alone.
No, definitely not. It's a partnership. They coordinate closely with their own Arab Center for Climate Change policies, so they're tapping into existing regional know-how.
Smart.
And the initiative has also had support from the Open Society Foundation since 2023, which helps, boost its ability to actually deliver these quite complex program designs.
Okay, and what's the timeline been like? When did this all kick off?
The main Debt Swap Donor Nexus initiative was launched back in December 2020. They had a big, high-level conference, ministers, officials, technical experts all getting together.
Right at the height of the pandemic's economic impact, basically.
Pretty much. Then, just a few months later, March 2021, they held their first advisory committee meeting to really figure out how to make the mechanism work in practice.
Getting down to the nuts and bolts.
Yeah. And they've already put out a detailed report on the Climate SDGs debt swap mechanism, laying out their approach and findings.
And I guess this fits into a wider body of research. It's not just a one-off idea.
Oh, absolutely. It connects to a lot of other work ESCWA and other institutions are doing. Things like guides on linking sovereign debt to climate and nature outcomes. It really shows how deeply intertwined these financial and environmental issues are now seen to be.
So it's part of a much bigger conversation.
Definitely. It underscores this comprehensive effort to really get to grips with these complex links between finance, debt, and sustainable development.
Okay, so let's pull back from the technical details for a moment. Beyond the acronyms, the mechanisms,
Yeah.
what's the bigger story here? Why should, someone listening today really care about this?
Well, I think it matters because it's not just about complicated finance or far-off development goals. It's really about rethinking, fundamentally rethinking how we pay for global public goods.
Like clean air or poverty reduction.
Exactly. And it shows how we can potentially turn what looks like a massive systemic problem, this crippling debt, into an actual pathway for progress on issues that affect every single one of us. Climate change, social inequality.
Here's where it gets truly transformative.
Right. It signals this huge shift in thinking from just managing debt, maybe rescheduling it, to strategically leveraging it.
Using it as a tool.
Precisely. Seeing debt not just as a liability, but as potential leverage. A way to unlock completely new streams of money for absolutely critical environmental and social investments, and in a way that benefits everyone involved.
So wrapping things up, this Climate SDGs debt swap mechanism, It really does sound like a genuinely clever piece of financial innovation.
It is quite ingenious.
Taking a national burden, this weight of debt, and turning it into a direct catalyst for global goals, climate action, the SDGs. It creates that tangible win-win you talked about.
Turning a drain on resources into a direct investment in a sustainable future. That's the core idea.
Okay, so considering this complex dance between financial health, protecting the environment, and social progress, maybe a final thought for our listeners to chew on.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's something to ponder. What other innovative financial tools, maybe things we currently overlook or underestimate, could be developed or just reimagined to tackle these big, interconnected global challenges? And how might you, listening now, explore how these kinds of solutions could work in different places, different contexts around the world? Where else could we turn burdens into opportunities?